I give you the best picks in every single round. And this is live right now. We're going to show a 20 or so minute video on the best picks in every single round, 1 through 8. And then after we come back, finish the show, the fantasy football show. Probably one of the best shows, I think, of the year, to be honest with you, with this setup here. We're going to do a worst picks of each round as well after probably tomorrow or the next day, so look for that video. But here is probably the best video you will find to date anywhere on YouTube that will help you dominate your league. And don't go anywhere. We're going to be live back on screen taking phone calls for the remaining part of the show. Let's roll. Who are the best picks in every single round? Rounds 1 through 8. It's going to get tough. I'm going to have to take 3 or 4 of my favorite players and come to a conclusion. Round 1 is going to be absolutely brutal. The fantasy football show begins right now.
From the fantasyfootballshow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show.
How do you not like Bijan at 5, 6, 7, 8? I mean, he really is potentially the best pick in fantasy football 2024 because he can finish as the RB1, as the #1 non-quarterback scoring fantasy football player in 2024. Everybody knows it's coming. The unleashing is going to happen. We thought it would be last year. People got mad at your boy Smitty because really there's no one higher on Bijan than me. And with that claim comes some negativity, right? Because last year I can't claim to be the highest on Bijan known to man and also not take an L in him being running back 9 and not running back 1 or 2. But we're doubling down this year. I think it's very clear what happened. It sucks to not have seen Arthur Smith coming the way that he brought stupidity to the situation, but Bijan's going to explode in 2024. I think everybody knows the unleashing is coming, but do they understand that this could be one of those LaDainian Tomlinson type touchdown producing guys where every game there's a 2 touchdown affair waiting to be had? You have Zach Robinson talking about getting this guy the football and feeding him between the tackles. He's a running back. We got to get him the ball, but he can also catch the football. Just hearing Zach Robinson and Raheem Morris and the entire staff talk about Bijan being a guy they need to get the ball to as much as possible. We have zero concern about what we saw last year, what we witnessed last year, what we endured last year. This is a 1,800 total yard player in a disappointing year and a very likely candidate to get 2,000 total yards. 12 total touchdowns would be a complete nut kick. 15 to 17 is more along my expectation. That alone makes him arguably the best pick in fantasy, let alone the best pick in round 1. Let's set Bijan aside for a moment and entertain a couple other names. Let's say Breece Hall is on our mind, and he should be. He should be. Breece Hall, fantastic. Number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10 overall. Why is he falling to 8, 9, 10? I have no idea. This guy was running back 2 last year, and he had a slow unveiling. Unbelievable value in Breece Hall. You could very easily argue that Bijan and Hall are equivalent in terms of being the best pick in round 1. I'm going to give the nod to Bijan barely, but I love both these guys. You know that. Hall is my boy. Moon Man extraordinaire ×2. Graduate of the big board. Of course we love Breece Hall.
Breece Hall is 8 foot tall. He will always answer the mother freaking call. Don't let him fall. In the third, don't stall. Just give Batman the freaking football.
He's Breece. He's Breece.
He does a hull of a job. A hull of a job. A hull of a job.
Breece Hall, please report to the moon.
He does a hell of a job.
Here's probably the only other name that could knock off Bijan as the top pick in round 1, the best value in round 1, and it's Jahmyr Gibbs. Because Jahmyr Gibbs could be running back 1, just like Breece Hall could be, just like Bijan could be, but he can be had even later, around 11 or 12 overall. It does give him almost a slight edge of being the best value in round 1. He's phenomenal. He could be absolutely unreal Running back 2, maybe. Running back 3, at least. I think Bijan, Hall, and Gibbs feel like locks to be top 3 running backs. I can't even contain myself in terms of my excitement for Bijan, Hall, and Gibbs all being top 5 running backs, all being top 3 running backs in fantasy football. Because Bijan feels more cemented into the traditional role that's almost guaranteeing him that LaDainian Tomlinson type production from the past, or you could use Christian McCaffrey for the future if you don't even know who the hell LaDainian Tomlinson is, if you've slept under a rock for the last couple decades. Gibbs is going to be unbelievable. I don't want this to feel like a knock, but the continuum of the gigawatt component structure of Jahmyr Gibbs's workload divide has a megawatt offload that if you compartmentalize the component conjunction timekeeper and you flux capacitor out the continuum component megabolt, things just end up happening. And that's why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back instead of top 6 to 10. Mashed potatoes! If I had to, I would say Bijan, Gibbs, and Hall all tie. That's my politically correct answer. That's my desired answer, to be honest with you. I don't want to be on record saying Gibbs isn't the best pick in round 1. I don't want to be on record saying Hall isn't the best pick in round 1. In fact, I refuse. I refuse to say that they can't be. I'm not going to do it. But if I had to slightly edge these 2 guys out, Hall and Gibbs, it would be because of Bijan being number 6 overall. It's practically a tie. It really practically is a tie. But let's put Bijan here just because if he was going 2 or 3, I think Gibbs would have the total advantage over everybody. But because Bijan's being had in the middle of the first round, he's still got so much ability to explode and climb up to number 1 overall. Climb half of round 1. That is a massive climb.
Hi, my name is Bijan Robinson. I like long walks on the beach. And, well, I also like scoring.
All right, for placeholder's sake, you got Bijan on 1. Who is number 2? Number 2 has to be the man known as devonachane. He's a fantastic second-round pick. There are quite a number of players I love inside round 2. I mean, I love Saquon Barkley. We've talked about Barkley a ton. Let's move Achane to the side for a second and just say, look, we're considering this Barkley pick right here. No doubt about it. He's one of the top 2 or 3 best picks inside round 2. No question, hands down. You know, if I had to say there was another player that I really want to throw out there, like let's say Achane was to drop to 3.1 and be in the Kyren Achane, who's the best pick in round 3 debate, Marvin Harrison Jr. probably wins my second round selection. I think he's at his floor right here, meaning that in a worst case scenario, he scores 10 to 12 touchdowns, 1,200, 1,300 yards, earns this value easily. And while people call him, oh, it's too high to draft a rookie wide receiver, I'm laughing because I think he can finish as a top 5 wide receiver, which would rank him around top 5 to 7 based on wide receivers going so early. A no-brainer to me, second round pick. So Barkley would be in this mix for sure if Achane, and he still is, but if Achane wasn't in play here and he fell to 3.1 on the regular, then Barkley and Harrison would be my 2 players I'm debating between, and MHJ would get the nod. But when push comes to shove, there's just no way around it. devonachane is an absolute monster at this 2.12. He's practically 3.1. If he does fall into the third round, we've got a problem because then it's Kyren and Achane. Oh, I just gave away my third round value, but that's okay. But if Achane does fall into the 3.1, we got a problem on our hands. We probably have a tie, and I can't separate Achane and Kyren from being my favorite third round pick. But right now he is at 2.12 to 3.1. Achane's my favorite pick in round 2, clear as day, no hesitation. So Kyren's my lead dog for the third round, you know that, but let's set him aside and keep an open mind real quick, and let's just take a gander at the third round. We've got DK. We've got guys like Cooper Kupp. We've got guys like Derrick Henry. I like Derrick Henry there. Tank Dell, I like Tank Dell more in round 4. We'll probably visit his name in round 4, but he does go in 3 or 4. You got the quarterbacks. Of course, I love the idea of drafting Josh Allen or Jalen Hurts in round 3. Those guys are definitely in the mix. If I had to nail it down to 2 or 3 players, of course, Josh Allen would be one of my top 3 in this territory. Hurts 100% in my top 3 in this territory. So Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, no doubt about it. These are 2 of my top 3. The only other one looking at ADP rankings is Kyren Williams. And Kyren Williams is probably going to take the cake because this guy, to me, in my opinion, deserves to be in round 1. Don't tell anybody. I don't need to draft him there. You don't even need to draft him in round number 2, but I believe he's a first-round player, and everybody's missing the boat. So this is quite arguably Kyren in round 3, my favorite pick so far. He's not only the best pick in round 3, my favorite pick in round 3, even though I love Hurts and I love Josh Allen, he's my favorite pick in the entire draft given the cost of entry. Kyren Williams has top 5 running back ability. Make sure you cuff him. We talk about this cuff board all the time. He's the best cuff in fantasy. Kyren, Corum, you got to do it. You got to do it. It's a must. Reach around earlier to grab Corum. You have to. And if you have the cuff, you have a top, not 5, top 1 to 5 running back inside round 3. It's ridiculous, and it wins leagues. Don't sleep on it. Let the haters hate. Kyren's coming for everybody. And if you don't believe me, and you say, Smitty, I don't really know how I feel because a lot of people keep running their mouth about Kyren, talking about how he's not going to be the guy this year. Let me pull up this footage of Kyren Williams. Look at Kyren Williams right now. This is Kyren. I haven't seen a running back look this quick and this fast in drills in a while. And you have people running their mouth about how he's got a foot injury, how he's injured. Look at him catching passes. He wants to catch more passes in 20. Look at the moves. Look how quick he is. He's going to catch more passes. Both of these guys are going to be on the field at the same time, Blake Corum and Kyren Williams, because they want to get Kyren in the flat. They want to get Kyren running routes. They want him in the slot. And Kyren could pull in double the receptions this year and still have similar yardage and score 12 rushing touchdowns, 15 to 18 total touchdowns. Wouldn't shock me at all if Kyren was at least one of these 2 things, the leading touchdown rusher in the National Football League in 2024 or the leading rushing yard getter. The rushing title will be in his reach all year long. This will be one of the top 3 running backs contending for the rushing title. Wouldn't even shock me if he led the league in rushing touchdowns and also rushing yards. I think Bijan gets more total yards. I think Bijan might get more total touchdowns. Bijan's this absolute well-rounded machine, but Kyren is that running monster that if your life's on the line and someone says, give me 100 and a tutty from somebody, I yell Kyren Williams.
He's Kyren. He's 7 feet tall, and he knows how to handle a ball. He's Kyren. He can take frowns and turn them upside down with his touchdowns.
Round number 4 is tough because, sometimes it depends on best ball or non-best ball. Sometimes Jalen Hurts can fall to round number 4, and then, of course, he's a smash. But I think that Mahomes is the guy that traditionally falls to round 4. Even in your non-best ball drafts, he can fall there. He'll go in 3 sometimes, no doubt about it, in your non-best ball drafts, but this becomes the clear as day top pick in fantasy in round 4 when you get here. I love the idea of little Tank Dell. Where's my boy Tank Dell at when you need him? I think he's somewhere around here. Let me move. Tank Dell is a fantastic 4th round pick. I love Tank Dell. I do have to say one of my favorite, I don't love him in 3. I think when he climbs in 3, it becomes a whole different product. But when Pacheco falls to round number 4, it becomes something of a huge win a league upside type of situation. So let's put almost equally Pacheco and Mahomes in this 4 spot, and Dell. I really love Dell. DK doesn't usually fall into round 4 on the regular, so I'm not going to put DK here. DK is definitely a consideration if he does fall, but I'm going to say it comes down to these 3 individuals, Pacheco, Mahomes, Tank Dell. No one was higher on Pacheco than this channel right here. Let's go! No one was higher on Pacheco than we were last year. I don't want to hear it. He was a moon man. Everybody doubted him. Everybody doubted when he started off the year in week 1 horribly, and then he started to get going. I love him in round 4. I love him as my 4th drafted player. The line in the sand for him does end up being the 4th drafted player, though. I don't love him as much in 3. I would take him in 3. I've taken him in 3 before when push comes to shove, but I love taking him in round 4. It's a huge difference maker. So at the risk of leaving a tie here, and I didn't want to leave any ties, we'll take Tank Dell out, even though Tank Dell deserves to be in this conversation. Know that. The reason I'm going to leave these two here is because not everybody can get Mahomes in round 4 in a non-best ball, and I don't want people to feel cheated that they didn't get a name listed, a final conclusion drawn in this 4th round because they play in a non-best ball where Mahomes goes in the 2nd or 3rd round. So I'm going to leave these two right here just like this so you understand that Mahomes would rank number 1 if he's there. And if he's not there, Pacheco would rank number 1. Let's go to round number 5. This is one of the easiest calls I could make, and the fact that he's falling in round 5 on the mother freaking regular is unbelievable to me. It's kind of head scratching. Actually, this is not a lock. I lied. This one's going to actually be tougher than I thought. The other is going to be Dalton Kincaid. And, you know, both these guys are marvels. Both of them are freaking going to explode in 2024. But here's another name, another player that I think is going to be completely overlooked for just a little while longer, but not forever. Understand that this is not going to be something that you can relish in later on, I don't think. I think he's going to change quite a bit in ADP value. Where is he? I'm trying to find him. Here he is. Ready? Here's the man, the myth, the legend, one of the biggest steals in fantasy football, round 5-6. I hope we could throw him in 6 right now. I think his ADP kind of calls for a round 5-6 combo. So let's go ahead and let me just check ADP real quick. You're probably like, Smitty, put it on the screen. Stop teasing me. But let me just check the ADP real quick. Let me see if we can get away with it in the next round. We might be able to, might not. But here he is. My 3rd choice here, maybe number 1 choice when you start breaking it down, the value you get here, Anthony Richardson. He and Kincaid and McBride are all kind of tied for this, who's the best pick in round number 5. I'm sorry, but this is flawless. I don't think anybody can come in here and say, Smitty, don't agree with round 1. Hey, Smitty, don't agree with round 2. Smitty, don't agree with round 3. Well, the Kyron and HN haters might come in for those two. Mahomes, Pacheco, this is all gold. This is like taking candy from a baby. I feel like this is obvious stuff. These 3 guys are monsters. Absolute straight up monsters. And Kincaid, if we look at Kincaid's ADP, he's a little bit later. Kincaid can fall to round number 6. Not super often. In fact, I'm looking at 2 ADP boards and Anthony Richardson. This is a random draft I'm going into. Richardson, Trey, McBride, and Dalton Kincaid all in round 5. Yeah, we got to keep him here. We can't get cute. We can't try and stretch this out and try and gain another, fun pick in round 6. It just is what it is. These 3 guys are going on 5 on the regular. McBride, Kincaid, Anthony Richardson. If I had to pick one, I'm going to say McBride maybe. Oh, man, I kind of want to leave it like I did with the Pacheco and Mahomes thing, just because it gives you the 2 options. And don't say taking a quarterback early is bad. You don't know what you're talking about. You don't. I'm sorry. Don't make me say it. Okay? These are the 2 best picks in round 4 and 5. Quarterback, Mahomes, and if Mahomes is there, plain and simple. And if he goes early, then Pacheco. And if AR5 is still there, it might be AR5 a slight edge now that I'm kind of nailing it down. I don't know. This is tough. I would say McBride and A-Rich. I don't want to divide it. I want to give you guys my fair assessment, and my fair assessment says it's tied. And Kincaid's really, really close. I don't want anybody to think Kincaid's not in this mix. I almost want to say this is a 3-way tie. I didn't want to do ties. I really didn't want to do it, but I don't want to leave you high and dry on this episode. I don't want you wanting. And so we're going to put... Man, the 5s. How do you go against anybody that is a 5?
There are 2 5s? KD 5, AR 5? There can't be.
Oh no. They're gonna cross streams. How do you go against Dalton Kincaid? And then there's McBride, who's been witnessing the stream crossing, and he's like, I want to be a part of that.
Once upon a time, Trey McBride saw two quarterbacks cross streams.
There are 2 5s?
They're gonna cross streams.
He worked effortlessly trying to accomplish this feat on his own. Then, one day, he crossed his 4th and 5th round average draft position. And then, this occurred. Get McBride.
Okay, so round 6, who do we want for round number 6? This one's becoming like a wild turn of events for me, because this wasn't really the case a couple months ago, that I like this guy in this territory, but I'm starting to really, especially with the cuffing aspect of this, I'm starting to really enjoy a man named Alvin Kamara in round number 6. We enjoyed his company last year in a late territory like this, around 7, 8. And I think cuffing him to Kendre Miller gives you a nice sense of security. I'm big on cuffs when it makes sense. I'm not big on cuffing everybody. And I think when people say not drafting cuffs and drafting other people's cuffs is the way to go, that's a really boring mentality. You should draft cuffs where it makes sense. There's no blanket statement for drafting cuffs. They either work or they don't, or some of them are good scenarios, some of them are bad. This is a good one. Draft Kamara. Drafting standalone Kamara is fine too, but I think this is a very solid selection. If I was to comb through round number 6 and try and find yet another name, I would probably say, obviously if Anthony Richardson fell or Kincaid, they would be the number 1 player here. I think Jaden Reed's kind of interesting in this territory here. Kenneth Walker's kind of interesting in this territory for sure. If I had to throw another name out, I'd probably say Christian Watson. I'm gonna lock it in as Kamara here and just say Kamara is the best pick right here. Stroud is also very good. Let me see if I can find a Stroud emoji somewhere. Stroud, where are you when I need you, pal? It feels right to give you guys a double shot of greatness right here. So I'm going to probably say this feels like the best pick in round number 6 would be Stroud or Kamara. If you wanted to go QB, Stroud. If you wanted to go RB, Kamara. I like that I'm giving you a couple options now. I didn't want to do it so much here, although looking back now, I kind of feel like I should have tied Hall, Bijan, and Gibbs. You know what I'm saying? All right, round 7. This one is going to, I think, surprise some people and people that have been watching the channel the last handful of days. It won't surprise you guys, but my absolute favorite pick right now at round 7, over and over is Keon Coleman. This guy is a rising star. He's out there looking like a monster running routes. He's crispy. His hands are amazing. His ability to stretch out for a football, catch the football at the exact right point. He's not a body catcher. He catches the ball with his fingertips. His footwork, it all makes you think this guy's route tree is going to be extensive right from the jump. And all the targets that are available to him, he's going to be a marvel. He's going to be an absolute gem. And it's going to be from day one, essentially. The amount of volume just sitting there, the fast tracking that Josh Allen's going to put him on, it's going to be just like how Aaron Rodgers speeds along Christian Watson his rookie year, and then we're so excited about Christian Watson. I'm still excited about Christian Watson. They solved his hamstring issues, we hope. But in terms of like fast tracking a wide receiver, that example is applicable here, and I think we're going to see Coleman be the second best rookie receiver, at least in 2024. I get Neighbors gets a quarterback later. He becomes that number 2 potentially for everybody. But right now, Coleman enters 2024 as the second highest ranking wide receiver from a redraft perspective in my mind, because he got the second or the first best situation handed to him in the Buffalo Bills, and that vacancy that he's just going to go in and scoop up and gobble up everything. And round number 8. My favorite pick in round number 8. This is going to be kind of a tough one because I think I like Zach Moss. I like Zamir White. Ooh, I like that one. Zamir White's fantastic. Jalen Warren's pretty good. Ramondre's pretty solid. Jonathan Brooks can go in 7 or 8. I like that. Najee Harris can go in 7 or 8. I like that. I'm probably going to lean, ladies and gentlemen, with the Zamir White experiment. And I think that this guy, if I could find his graphic, there we go. Zamir White, he's increased in size. I don't know if anybody's seen, but he ate the entire running back room. And so he is coming in a man on a mission. Look at those guns. He literally is going to take the NFL by storm. I'm very worried about the offense in general in LV, but I think this guy's going to get volume, and volume's king. I'd love to see him get better yards per carry because he's going to face a lot of 8-man fronts, but that's okay. He's going to feed off it and potentially, have that 4.5 yard per carry season still, even though he could have 5 in a good offense. But this is going to be a lot of volume going his way. I love Zamir White. Zeus, do it live. Appreciate you all watching. My favorite picks in every single rounds 1 through 8. My next video will be my least favorite picks, the worst picks in rounds 1 through 8. And now it's time for the remainder of the live show. Phone lines will be open. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Looky here, reindeer. Welcome to the live segment of the show where we digest what we just saw on screen, all the amazing picks in every single round. Let's see if I still have that actually pulled up. There's the actual screen that we were talking about. Such an eclectic group of monsters on this screen right here. And as I said earlier in the video, this is like, it's like taking candy from a baby. The fact that we have this arsenal here, and we had some ties that we didn't necessarily keep on screen earlier on with the Gibbs and the Breece Hall and the Bijan. We had the Barkley and the Achane at the second round territory. Just a bunch of marvels on screen. The Josh Allen, Kyron, and Jalen Hurts. It's like taking candy from a baby. And looking at this board, this is probably the most important show we've had all season long. These are the league winners. Not saying, as we mentioned, the DK Metcalf in round 3-4 is fantastic. We have a lot of win a league players. Okay, so this is just, we got the Saturn, the Mars, the Moonman list, of course, and a lot of those guys. I wish we could fit them all on here. But looking at this is some of the most amazing value in fantasy football. And if you notice a theme here, it's running backs. And all these scared Scotties and petrified Peters and worried Williams and slaves to the data. The wide receiver, Smitty. I was told by 7 different content creators that if you don't go wide receiver, you're going to get left behind. This will be a season for the ages, a historical year to reflect back upon, because people are going to miss the boat and try and punt running back, and you shouldn't punt running back. In some cases, you should be going RB, and in some cases, you should be going RB, dare I say.
Mashed potatoes!
Did he just say triple RB? Did Smitty just say go triple? I can't believe this. This guy should be off the airwaves. Why does he even have a show? How could he have just said that in a wide receiver world to go 3 RBs? I said it. There is a world where you can smash your league into 1,000,000 pieces, grab Keon Coleman's, grab even a Tank Dell in the 4th round, have yourself a merry little Christmas in December that's full of wide receiver breakouts and monster running back machines that carry fantasy football. Changing of the guard, Gibbs, Bijan, Hall, Achane, Kyron, Barkley, all league-winning running backs consumed inside the top 25. And if you're playing the wide receiver game too long and too often, you're going to miss out on playing these running back games during Christmas time when you're trying to cash your checks and take your imaginary teams to the bank on a napkin saying, can I have an advance on my Christmas feast, please? Look at my team. It's full of 8 wide receivers. Can I get an advance? Where are your running backs? Well, I was told to ignore the running back by Steve, the creator over here, and Margaret over here, and Bill over here. They told me wide receiver when Smitty said smash RB and smash it well.
Mashed potatoes!
You do what you want. We're here to win championships. We're here to go against the grain when the grain needs to be gone against. And the phone lines are open. Dial in. Let's discuss. Appreciate you all.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial into the phone line brought to you by the Attic.shop. The Attic.shop is where you can get your unbelievable apparel over at the Attic. Let me show you just a few pieces here. The Attic.shop is a mix of movie tees and hoodies from over 40 years ago. The Beast, King Kong, Godzilla, Spider. You know what I'm talking about. Do it live. Dial into the phone line. Phone line's open. And let's have a discussion about RB. Let's have a discussion about RB, the triple RB. Let's have a discussion about balance. Let's have a discussion about best player available, because of course best player available should guide you, but what the point is here is that sometimes best player available is RB, and it oftentimes is looking that way, especially when you get a draft pick that is conducive to that type of maneuver. I'm taking RB every single time if best player available presents me with that information. The unfortunate part about the current content creating landscape in the fantasy football business is that it's all brainwash, rinse and repeat, copycat, that it's going to be Smitty wide receivers, what I'm being told. I'm taking wide receivers, right? If you don't have a wide receiver, there's running backs out there that I can get later. There's wide receivers you can go out and get later. It's all about best player available. It's always about BPA every single time.
Hello?
Sean, turn down the background sound. Sean, you're live. What can I do for you?
Hey, love the Bijan and A-Chain strategy.
As you should.
I just have questions
As you
regarding the wide receivers. Like, you know, if DK is available around 3, that would be great. 4, 5, 6. Like, you didn't really put as many wide receiver options on there. So I just wanted to, like, go over what we could do if I get Bijan and A-Chain.
Yeah, you get Bijan and A-Chan, and even Kyron Williams in round 3, bro. Don't be scared. Don't be scared of it. Don't be scared of the light, pal. Don't let people frighten you out of going triple
losers
R,
out
RB.
there who listen to everyone else.
That's what I'm talking about. Against the grain, bro.
Well,
when you go against the grain, you drive
wanna...
against traffic, and you see all these poor saps in a line, just jam-packed, bumper to bumper, and you're driving on the other side of the freeway going, we got RBs! Pile on in! Okay, let me tell you who I like. Let's start off in round 3. DK Metcalf, wide receiver 1. Not overall, but he's a wide receiver 1. DK Metcalf could get you 12 to 14 touchdowns while he's sleeping on the field this year. Because why? Ryan Grubb's coming over and deploying an Arsenal air raid-like attack, so to speak. This is not going to be your 2 wide receiver set that Seattle's so known for. Very boring, mundane system. Don't even throw to the RBs. You know, this is a Shane Waldron approach. Shane Waldron, guess where Shane Waldron is now? Chicago. He went to go coach Caleb Williams and turn Caleb Williams into a star. And Shane Waldron's 2 wide receiver sets, I don't like that offense at all. I love that Ryan Grubb, Washington OC, the OC for Penix Jr. in college, is bringing that Washington offense mindset, at least, to the Seattle Seahawks. 3 wide receiver sets. We probably had maybe 70 to 80% of the time 2 wide receiver sets in Seattle, if I had to guess. We're going to flip that upside down in 2024. And you might say, well, that just means that there's going to be more other wide receivers involved. And no, it means that this is going to be an air attack. And DK Metcalf has been very limited in a 2 wide receiver set, running these simple routes and being coined as a guy that doesn't have a good route tree. He now gets to explore everything. He now gets to run all over the field, be lined up all over the field. He's going to sleepwalk into double-digit touchdowns. DK Metcalf is probably your best answer to finding a wide receiver 1 if you were to go RB. Tank Dell. Tank Dell might be the number 1 wide receiver in Houston still, in my mind. Every time I watch this guy, I can't believe my eyes. And I love that people think he's the 3rd wide receiver in the pecking order. He's not. He's not. He is an elite wide receiver that can't be contained on the NFL level. You can't touch this guy after a certain amount of yards, and it's over. Not to mention, at the line of scrimmage, despite being small, he dominates everybody. You can't touch him. Tank Dell is a marvel. You get DK and Tank Dell, or Devontae Smith and Tank Dell, or Devontae Smith and DK Metcalf, and you start going that route. You have Keon. Let's say you get one of them. Let's say you go RB. Let's say you go Bijan, Achane, and Kyron, and you put your balls on the table. And you come in and you only get 1 wide receiver of the ones we're talking about. And you got to go cheap wide receiver shopping. Yeah, guess what? Keon Coleman's waiting for you. Keon Coleman says, dial me up, put me in, coach. I can be a fantasy football wide receiver 2 as a rookie, volume-based alone. Not to mention the talents there. There are so many wide receivers, bro. Go Jaden Reed and Christian Watson. Especially if you're in best ball, you're getting a low-end wide receiver 1 or at least a high-end wide receiver 2 out of having both those wide receivers. Man, maybe you don't want to consume 2.
Do you like Scary Terry in Washington?
I do.
Jaden's throwing to him.
I do love Scary Terry.
Right. How about Hollywood in Kansas City?
Love him. These are all players that think about what's Hollywood going to do. Don't you think he's a bare minimum 8 touchdowns? Wouldn't you say? Bare minimum 7-8 touchdowns.
Yeah, man.
1,100 yards.
Like
if let's say he loses his pinky toe in a bicycle accident in week 2 and he plays the entire season with 9 toes, don't you think he could still get you 1,100 yards and 7 or 8 touchdowns? Floor, right? That you're talking about that versus what? Give me Waddle's line. What's Waddle gonna do? Let's say he gets 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns. Are we really gonna surpass that much production in that wide receiver swap comparatively to the running back swap? To give me Gibbs, Kyron, Achane over running backs you need to now consume later, and it's all about apples to apples. Give me the Hollywood Brown. Give me the DK Metcalf. Give me those guys if it means I can have an elite running back that could be number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 overall. It's wild to me people don't see a drastic difference between Jahmyr Gibbs, Kyron Williams, Bijan Robinson, and other RBs that people say, I'll just wait and get my RB later. I'll just wait. I'll be fine. It's like quarterback. There's lots of them. It's a committee now. There's no more workhorse running backs. Bullshit. There might be less workhorse running backs from year to year. It's a revolving door. Everything is a cycle. Everything. We heard the running back was dead before Zeke Elliott entered the league. That was a very common phrase. I've been around for a while. I'm a dinosaur in this industry, bro. I've been through so many cycles of things. I've seen it. That's what gives me an advantage over other people, is I've seen these cycles of things happening. Some people that barely have hair on their chest or hair under their armpits are doing YouTube content. And they just decided, I'm declaring I'm an expert. I've got no track record at all. I never did NBC Sports Radio or CBS or Sirius or wrote for a big publication. I'm just an expert now. I've got an Instagram or a TikToky, and I'm now an expert, and I barely have hair on my chest, and I'm going to tell you that running backs are dead. Well, guess what? I've lived through 3 or 4 different cycles of running backs dying and coming back to life. The running back is not dead. The running back gets paid like garbage. They're now hybrids. They're now all PPR monsters. There is going to be no between the tackle running back that is not also a PPR monster. This is a whole new age of RB, but the RB's not dead. The RB is deep as hell. The tight end position, never been deeper. The QB, running back, wide receiver, and tight end position all in unison. I haven't seen this deep of a positional ranking in a long time. So when someone says, oh, you can wait on this position, you can wait on any position. This is the one year where it's a stupid comment to say, why don't you wait on that position? It's really deep. All 4 of them are stacked to the rafters. Take the best player available. There's never been a better time to take best player available when every single category, running back, wide receiver, tight end, QB, they're all stacked to the rafters. This is the year of not only the running back, this is the year of best player available more than it's ever been in my entire 23 plus years professional of doing this. When I barely had hair on my chest. Sean?
Keon Coleman, yeah, man, I like the hair on your chest now. Keon Coleman.
Pause, Sean.
He's a guy that's might take a couple games to get going, and then you also think that guy on San Francisco that was just drafted, like
Ricky Pearsall.
A bunch of those other guys that are going to be maybe take 2, 3, 4, 5 games to get going that I should be targeting from route into 8 down.
You got to be careful with guys like Pearsall. I love Pearsall. The moment if Ayuk gets traded, then Pearsall to the mother freaking moon. But yeah, there's a lot of guys that I really, really like. Some of them you monitor. Sometimes you can't pick a certain player like Garendo. Love Garendo, but how do we draft Garendo when we're only drafting 4 or 5 running backs in best ball? It makes it hard, but we monitor him and we attack him in not in best ball. Garendo could be a league winner, but you definitely have to play it safe with somebody. You can't stack your entire team with Ricky Pearsall, but you can own Ricky Pearsall as a league winning monster that you can strike with at any moment. But yeah, you know, there's crafty ways to build wide receivers. Brian Thomas Jr., 6th round, 7th round, absolute gem wide receiver. Christian Watson, Calvin Ridley. You got tons of guys that are in that 6, 7 round territory. Give me Achane or Kyren in one of those wide receivers versus going Waddle and taking a running back where those guys are going. It's apples to apples. Waddle and running back late, or you give me Christian Watson or Jaden Reed with my Kyren Williams or Achane, and I'm going to show you how to play fantasy football. That's what I'm going to do. Sean, hang tight. Put it on mute, pal. I'm coming right back to you. Travis Rowe, you are live.
Hey, how's it going?
Yo.
Yeah, I agree with the early running back, top running back, sometimes taking 2 or even 3, because if you look at the rankings on anything, the top 10 to 12 you could tier into 2 or 3 tiers, and then once you get past those, which means if every team got one, that's 1 per team at best, you fall off. After you get past the Pacheco, Jacobs, Etienne, you're looking at James Cook, who I know has upside, but Mixon, Rashad White, Kenneth Walker, Montgomery, Kamara, Zamir White, so all those guys, they all have question marks around them, and we like things about all those guys, but they're not that quote unquote bell cow or whatever we want to call it, top tier guy. And I'm more comfortable trying to put together a wide receiver room than I will be scrambling for an RB1 or 2 RB1s as the season goes on.
Yeah, the difference between DK Metcalf, as I said, and Waddle is maybe negligible, or it's not. Or right. DK even outscores him.
Not even.
It's crazy to me that we're considering passing on a Barkley, a Kyren, or an Achane to get Waddle when I can just get DK Metcalf or Tank Dell later or Devontae Smith. It's a wild proposition. And Rockout says, scared money don't make money. That's right. That's a common phrase used on this channel. Rockout is absolutely correct. And Bryson with the $2 hauler PPR, would you rather have Reed or Coleman in redraft? I'd rather have Coleman probably at this point because of pure volume. And Reed and Christian Watson together for some reason are a much more attractive proposition for me, because you have that, especially in best ball, you have probably low end wide receiver 1 on a lot of occasions, and definitely a high-end wide receiver 2 weekly with that combination. And it doesn't really scare me to draft 2 players back-to-back like that, and you kind of have to. It doesn't scare me at all because it's so late. It's like 7th round, 6th round, 6th and 7th round, sometimes 7th and 8th round, depending on where your pick is, and that's a fantastic move to make. So thank you, Bryson. Appreciate that. running back is it's the way to go this year if best player available allows it. And it doesn't mean that I don't love balance. I think that hero RB is still an outstanding way to draft. Maybe my favorite draft approach is hero RB, even coming from somebody that's saying I love going RB. I love RB. I love RB, wide receiver, quarterback, whatever the case may be. But if we look at this board right here and we say, okay, what's hero RB? Is hero RB only going Bijan in round number 1, and then we consume wide receivers, we consume quarterbacks, tight ends, and then we get to like a 6th or 7th round territory, we start entertaining RB again. It can be that, and I don't mind that at all. But what it also could be, it could be a late hero RB approach where you just grab Pacheco in round number 4 and you go Jamar Chase, and somehow, some way, you get the right player that lands here that you like or whatever. And then in this round, you get Josh Allen or Hurts or whatever, and then you go Pacheco. That's certainly a possibility as well. And at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you, balance is king. Balance does help you navigate for one reason alone. If you want to just pin it down to one simple reason that balance is the best way to go, is that if you were to go RB and wide receiver, your natural tendencies and biases involved to try and draft a position and not a player, to force yourself to go wide receiver when you really want to go RB. You don't have the pressure when you're balanced. You come out running back, wide receiver, running back, you literally feel as free as a bird in the 3rd and 4th round, and you're not pressured or subjugated to the idea of having no RB or weak RB1 or whatever. So RB, wide receiver RB is naturally the most I would say stress-free strategy you can have. But I am not scared of this at all. RB is starting to become almost equal in terms of my favorite draft strategy is becoming about equal to hero RB. Hero RB, one running back in the top 6 or so rounds, and RB. And dare I say RB, triple RB is starting to climb as well. And I'm not scared about that at all. I could care less. And when these people come in and go like that guy the other night that came into the live stream and looked at my wide receivers after I dominated running back, dominated quarterback, dominated tight end, still had Jamar Chase, and then had a weak wide receiver 2, weak wide receiver 3, weak wide receiver 4, but they were weak to him. They weren't weak to me. I'm handcrafting, hand selecting monsters that are sleeping at the wide receiver position. But he strolls in and goes, ew. He literally used the words ew to your wide receiver room when, bro, open your eyes. Open your eyes. I just showed you the most glorious team that, yeah, it's going to be in your mind a struggle at wide receiver 2, 3, 4. That's all I've got to focus on. You end up crushing RB1, RB2, or wide receiver 1, QB, tight end, and you have a vacancy, a couple voids in wide receiver 2, 3. You're rolling with the Jaden Reed. You got a Keon Coleman. You got Legetts and different players like that. Your only job is to land your wide receiver 2 and 3 throughout the course of the season. You find a Puka Nacua or something even close to it, it's game over for everybody. And you say, ooh, I want balance. I'd rather have my oohs spread out all over so that everything feels a little ooey and not just one position feels big ooey. Big ooey concerns me. That scares me, Smitty. I like more balance than that. Balance is good. Balance is not a requirement. And neither is watching the show. Roll call. We don't have roll call either. Okay, so, complain somewhere else. Now, I will say, if that guy's watching, I don't want you to leave necessarily. Your ooh comment was hilarious. Let me go back over to Sean real quick. Sean, what do you got? What do you hear? What do you say?
So if you in my higher stake league, I have 4th pick. And I'm scared that I'm not going to be able to get Achane and Kyron Williams back on 2-3. So I'm leaning towards going Bijan over Jamar Chase. Would you like Bijan over Jamar?
I don't like or dislike. I think both approaches are fantastic. I think that I do tend to, in best ball, mix it up enough to where I'm going 50% Bijan And that way I don't, and I still have gone Kyren and Achane with Bijan. Like I said, 3 running backs. I'm fine with it. I could care less. I get people come in and go, you can't believe you're actually doing best ball content here, Smitty, for people when you really think you can win going RB. As I said, no one's asking you to watch, Philip. You don't need to be in here. This is for big boys, okay? This is not for brainwash content consuming. This is not for your cookie cutter, your rinse and repeat, your copy paste, your copycat type content. Get out of here. No one needs you here. We don't need that, Philip. But as for Sean's question, I mean, bro, Bijan, and then, you go RB or you go wide receiver. It doesn't matter to me. You can build amazing teams. And Bijan's going to be arguably the number 1, number 2 overall player in fantasy football, plain and simple. So, like, I want Bijan, okay? Bijan, push comes to shove, I want Bijan more than Jamar Chase. But Jamar Chase is so good. He's so close. If I believe in the ADP world that I'm drafting in, right? If I'm drafting on ESPN, if I'm drafting with grandma, if I'm drafting with the nursing home girls, whatever the case may be, if I feel like I can get a sense that I'm going to get Achane and Kyren, then Chase does make a lot of sense. And it's a fantastic move. But if you, like you said, you're not quite sure you're going to get 2 of them, let alone 1 of them, then it is nice going Bijan, bro. Especially if, in some cases, Marvin Harrison Jr. falls in the grandma league to the middle of the 2nd round. You could get Bijan in the middle of round 1 and Marvin Harrison Jr. in the middle of round 2 in a grandma league, in a nursing home, in those environments, the work league where, Steve doesn't even, he auto drafts every year, Margaret's got the fanny pack. They all show up into the lunchroom and you draft and nobody knows what in the hell they're doing. You're getting Marvin Harrison Jr. at 15, 14 overall. No problem at all.
You see Achane going up or down?
I think it depends on the news, bro. Right now, he's floating downward. Very little bit.
Good.
And it's not so much that Achane is getting any hate. It's that he's volatile. Like, people are already a little bit worried about him. And anybody hanging on a thread of making him their 2nd drafted player, the moment someone else has good news, it's more about they just are going to gravitate toward there's a safer player now. Thank God. See you later, Achane. I might revisit that in the 3rd round. Like, people are very on edge about it. You know why? Because they don't understand the role that he has in the Miami Dolphin offense that has Mike McDaniel coming over from San Francisco. Okay? Mike McDaniel coming over from San Francisco, my boy. And let me put Achane on screen here since we're talking about Achane. This is Miami Mike designed the Deebo Samuel. He architected the Deebo Samuel role to a significant degree, okay? And when he went over to Miami, we all wondered who's going to be his Deebo Samuel in Miami. Who's Miami Mike going to take and turn into Deebo? Oh my God, he's got Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's going to become Deebo Samuel. It was a natural thing for people to think. Even I was wondering, like, is this what's going to happen? It wasn't. It took some time to you had to draft him last year, develop him throughout the year. But Deebo Samuel is now Achane in Miami Mike's system. This is a guy that's guaranteed a certain amount of workload, and he plays just the inverse version of Deebo Samuel's role. He's the running back playing both instead of the wide receiver playing both. But this guy is an absolute locked in, dialed in, tons of work type of running back, just locked and loaded. Like, you don't need him to be the between the tackle guy. You don't want him to be the between the tackle guy. You want him to get the between the tackle work. And, people get injured and he plays a heavier role between the tackles for 4 games out of the year. We're excited about that. We're going to do a standing ovation the day we hear Achane starting, and, we're going to love that. But do we want that the entirety of the year? Probably not, because that's not who he is. That's not the role that's made him so great. People are scared of things they can't see, they can't touch, and they haven't seen before. And Achane's role is confusing because they don't have a guarantee that he's getting the 12 to 15 carries up the gut. We have to rely on him getting a hybrid workload. How many people had a problem with Alvin Kamara year after year and saying things like, he's not a workhorse, though? He is a workhorse. A workhorse is defined by me as a player that gets volume. If you get the same sum total volume through receptions and rushes, and really it comes down to how much target share you get, how many opportunities you have, not so much carries. Carries can be, you could get 15 carries, but get 7 of those be 2.5 yard carry, runs. The touches is the more important number. The opportunities is the more important stat. I'd much rather have Achane's role sum total than to have a running back that got even a little bit more sum total touches, but all rushes. Like, this is his PPR work is so valuable. Achane is the number 1 running back in the National Football League historically across the entirety of the NFL. Historically, the number 1 running back in yards per carry, 7.8. For running backs that carried the football more than 100 times, he's the number 1 running back in NFL history in yards per carry. He is the definition of explosive. So to answer your question, Achane probably falls before he climbs. What?
What's the earliest I should go on Mostert then if I get Achane, and then the other guy I could get in like the 14th, 15th round?
Go watch my video on this. I have a video on this. It's how to draft the entire Miami Dolphin and the LA Ram running back room. You draft the entirety of it. They all have the same bye weeks. You got to be cognizant of that. But it's Mostert's going in the 9th to 8th round. Sometimes the 10th round. Mostert here in a random draft, the 8th round. So, and you look at that and you say to yourself, okay, well, that's expensive though. Smitty, an 8th round. It's not though. When we really look at what we're getting, if we go to the board here and we say to ourselves, we're getting Achane in round number 2, okay? Achane in 2, and let's say we take Kyren Williams in 3. Kyren in 3. You have your first rounder available. You have your 4th rounder available. You have your 5th rounder available, your 6th rounder, your 7th rounder. Even in a worst case scenario, if this is where we're getting Mostert, you have Mostert going around 8. You have Corum going in about 10, and you have Jalen Wright going in 12 or 13. You're hampered by 1 round in that gauntlet of players to cuff in your sum total of 5 guys. Kyron's going at 3, Achane's going at 2. You still get your Jamar Chase or whoever the hell you want, St. Brown. You still get potentially in round number 4. If you're lucky, you can get Mahomes. You can get AR5 in round 5. You can get McBride in 5. You can get Zamir White in 7. You can get Keon Coleman in 7. You can get an amazing plethora of players. Sometimes Stroud falls into 5 or 6, and so that leaves you the ability to get Henry or Jacobs or Tank Dell with McBride. Like, how do you not win with Chase, Achane, Kyren, Josh Jacobs or Tank Dell, McBride, and AR5 or Stroud? How do you not win with that? How do you not win? And you get to back up every single one of those RBs. But Smitty, they all have the same bye week. Cry me a river. Bye weeks are the most irrelevant, especially in non-best ball. Bye weeks are the most irrelevant thing in fantasy football. The most boring conversation I've ever had. Bye weeks, who cares? Who cares? Fill a void in your week 6 bye week. Pick up Braylon Allen and another RB and get a touchdown or 2. Find a way to win your bye week, your massive bye week where you're bleeding out everybody. But then the remainder of the season, you got 16 weeks of your running backs being glorious. The entirety of it. You're not bleeding out slowly. You're bleeding out once. And sometimes you still win that league. Bye weeks are absolutely madness. Absolutely madness. That people even put a single worry or lose a wink of sleep over bye weeks. It's all relative. You bleed out all at once. You bleed out slowly. There's pros and cons to both. And just as long as you're cognizant of it, you have a replacement, you'll be fine. You might lose the week. You might be surrendering one week. What if you win it? What if you somehow win it? I've seen people win a massive bye week attack and they still win the week. And now it's like, oh my God, they got 16 weeks of now not having any buys practically. And they just won this bye-mageddon. So that's my answer, Sean. I don't even know where I'm going.
I got it. Thank you, buddy.
All right, later, Sean. Let me hit the super chat here from later. OT dropping a $10 wad on the screen. OT, appreciate you, my mine, dropping it hot in the chat here. QB Allen, wide receiver London, DK Pittman, Neighbors, Coleman, Ridley, Brees Hall, Zamir White, Chase Brown, Ferguson. I feel like I crushed your thoughts. Yeah, I like your team a lot. I mean, QB Josh Allen, number one quarterback. London, DK Pittman, Neighbors, really, really, really solid. I love Coleman. That's a great team. Zamir White, Hall, Ferguson. I like it. I mean, would I try and use like Pittman and Neighbors and Pittman and Zamir White? You know, I love Zamir White, to try and somehow get that Achane or Kyron in there. Sure, like I'm working that like crazy, but past that, I mean, you got a fantastic freaking squad, bro. You crushed it. You did well. You used the process we talk about all the time. You stuck to your guns. You took great players. You drafted the best player available. I love it. Travis, what's up?
Things are good exercises too, even if it's not something people would normally do, just because you never know which way your draft is going to fall. And like, perfect example of that was like the Marsman draft last year, when people just started reaching like crazy, and you have to adjust and adapt sometimes. And if you have these things in the back of your mind, you can automatically switch over to a different strategy without panicking and ending up with some team that you absolutely hate. You know what's
so funny to me is like, draft strategy is like breathing air. I don't even think about it. Like I don't plan for anything. The fact that people are planning for anything, I don't even have the stresses of any sort of like, oh, this ruins my plan. I never ever concern myself with that. The secondary plan of attack, hero RB, zero RB, late wide receiver 2, whatever your strategy is, those are sub strategies that are opened by the fantasy gods. And it's like whatever avenue best player available takes me, I try and look at those things, but I'm never once cementing myself in anything. The worst drafter is the one that goes in and says, I'm going RB, then wide receiver, then wide receiver, then wide receiver. Or even if they were to say, I'm going to go RB, that is a bad drafter. I'm sorry. You should be saying, who's the best player available? Now, is this draft position that you have, let's call it 11, conducive to RB being very successful and oftentimes being the best player available? Yeah. So then you mock draft for that. You kind of over prepare for the RB, and then when it presents itself, you go, yep, there it is. I'm going to go RB, and you're totally prepared. That is smart drafting. But a dumb drafter, a person that doesn't know fantasy football, goes, I'm going to go wide receiver in round 1. Then I'm going to go running back in round 2. Then I'm going to go. That is somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. And that's fine. We like those people too. We need those people too. Those are called Bobs. Those Bobs help fluctuate the ADP in advantageous ways for you and I, for all of us. But do not draft that way. Draft best player available. BPA is your number one draft strategy from the top down of a funnel, and everything else is a subcategory that's presented to you. And you might have two options to go. Best player available might be wide receiver or running back, so you can do whatever the hell you want. But anybody that says going RB is a disaster, even in Best Ball Mania promo code Smitty, where Underdog will match your first deposit 50%. Here's the link if you want to draft with us at midnight. We may or may not draft tonight. I think we could. Hit that link right here. Do it live. Smash it. Appreciate you all. But when we're drafting on Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty and people go, oh, this guy, people wander in, and they say, this guy's trying to attention everybody. Let me get the chat's attention. My name's Steve. I come from another channel and I'm trying to infiltrate here. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. You can't win best ball going RB. Oh, hold on. I'm getting a phone call. Yes, Ma. Oh, the guy in 2023 went RB that won Best Ball Mania? Ma, get the meatloaf ready. Shut up, Ma. I'm busy. Guys, attention. Oh, wait, Smitty kicked me out. Now I'm no longer here. Damn it. I like this show. I just shot myself in the foot. Now I can't even watch Smitty's show because I decided to be a total weirdo. Get the meatloaf, Ma. Dial into the phone line, guys. Dial in.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
I think it definitely is like a lot of people plan too much and have their heart set on certain players too much. I understand getting your guys and people you like, but like that should be the beauty of best ball, is that, like, especially like we talk about the $3 drafts we do, you should be, you know, using that almost as practice to try different things out and get used to different, you know, formats and different strategies and all that. So when the time comes for, like, you know, if you're in a big money league or dynasty or whatever it may be, you're ready for that. Because I see a lot of people in the chat, and then just talking to people that I know, you know, they're always planning, I got to get this guy this year. Oh, I'm planning this way this year. And it's like, you're going to hit a wall at some point and be disappointed. And that's the other part of it too, is like, it's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to have fun with it, not be stressed out.
What's also funny is that when somebody says to me that, according to the data, Smitty, if you have 5 wide receivers in the first 7 rounds, or at least 4, you're more likely to what? To what? What are you trying to say about my ability to find players that no one else can find? Because I could care less what you think, Steve, or Greg, or Margaret, or whoever the hell you are, when you think that I don't believe that we're all arrogant in this thing we call fantasy football. No one would play if we thought everybody was better than who we are as fantasy football drafters. So yes, I arrogantly sit here saying, I'm the guy that's going to go find the Keon Coleman. I'm the guy that's going to go find the next TJ Hawkinson or Sam Laporta. I'm the guy that's identifying JD5 as the next AR5. I'm the guy that believes in AR5 to be what we believe AR5 is, that some people still think AR5 is not. I'm the guy that's going to go get that player. And so in my mind, I could care less if you tell me I fall into this very small statistical category now because I go running back heavy in a best ball draft, that I'm not going to be the outlier that finds the talent to make my running back approach look like I didn't go running back. How in the hell did he get Keon Coleman? How in the hell did he get BT and Keon Coleman to both be monsters as rookies? He got lucky because the rookie wide receivers this year were just extra good. That will be an outlier type situation. People are wild. I don't care if you tell me I have an 8% chance versus 22% chance of advancing into the top final round of players because I go this approach. Guess what? I believe that I'm in this category of people for a reason. I'm dominating that approach and they're not doing a good job with it. You got to be out of your mind to try and tell me I need to follow last year's data. Not use it. Use it, of course. Use it to your advantage. Find out what works in some ways and what doesn't work. But you got to be out of your mind if you think I'm not arrogant enough to draft the best wide receivers I could possibly assemble, better than anybody's ever seen in their life, to go with my heavy RB approach and smash you at quarterback, smash you at running back, and if I find the gems at wide receiver, it's game over. That's my objective. And if I fail at it, you think I care? I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again because that is why we're here. That is my job, to predict who the next player is going to be at this position or that position. I'm not sitting here for fun, although it is fun. My job is fun. Don't get me wrong, but I'm here to do a job. And yes, we're all arrogant in thinking we can do it better than the next guy. That's what makes this so fun. All right, let me go over to John real quick, who's been waiting patiently there. John, what's up? You're live.
Do you think there's a possibility that Hurts doesn't score 350 points this year? In the last 3 years, he scored 10 rushing touchdowns, 13, 15. At one point, is that number going to come down, especially with Saquon coming in there? And I'm not saying that he's not going to do it, but I'm looking at him. And I don't know how old he is. I think he's maybe 26, 27, maybe a little bit younger. I don't predict that he's going to want to continue to run, especially now that he has somebody there who's willing to take the load and hasn't had the ability to do so due to having no O-line whatsoever in New York.
I mean, that's definitely the thinking, is that Hurts will probably run a little less, just like Lamar will run a little less. The difference between Lamar and Hurts, and why Hurts is a better shot at seeing less rushing production for himself, and still delivering on expectation versus Lamar is he's a good passer. And I know people are going to say he's not, and I could care less about that. This guy, Hurts, is capable of throwing 300, 400-yard games. In fact, I think his very first game he ever started was a 400-yard game, if I remember correctly, and 3 touchdowns. His second game was a 300 and something and 3 touchdown game. I believe it was 6. It was 5 or 6. I believe it was 6 total touchdowns, over 600 to near 700 yards in his first 2 starts. And then I think he was benched that next game for a dumb reason because he struggled a little bit in the first quarter or two, if I remember correctly. Hurts is capable of throwing a big yardage game as anybody. I'm not saying Lamar can't do that, but Lamar's very much a different player. Hurts is the capability of whatever you take away from the run and say, hey, Barkley, take this on. He is capable of now throwing more touchdowns to accommodate that. Not to mention, even though they might do the brotherly shove a little less because they got Barkley, we're talking about like when you need 3 or 4 yards and you're trying to force this thing. And they still get it. They still do it. It's pretty amazing. With 1 yard to go, half a yard to go, this is all Jalen Hurts. Hurts is still, think about it from this perspective, bro. He might, Ziggy, how old is Jalen Hurts? You act like he's an old man that is 25 years old, bro. He's gonna play until he's, let's just say 12 to 15 more years. You think it's even crossing his mind of, I'm getting a little older, this is kind of hurting my joints, I need to stop, being a baller. No, not yet, bro. When you're 35 years old, 10 years from now, Hurts is going to start thinking like that. And yeah, the team might try and be smarter, run the ball more because they have Barkley. That's fine. No one's saying that isn't going to be the case. And keep in mind, Swift ran a ton. He just didn't always run as successfully as he could have. He ran wrong plays. He ran the wrong direction. They're going to get much more efficiency out of Barkley. They're also going to live in the red zone more. The offense is going to be overall more effective. So whatever you take away from Hurts running, you're probably giving back in passing production. And Hurts is not scared of running. They're not scared of running Hurts. He can out-squat anybody in the entire league except for maybe Saquon Barkley. So these two guys are an absolute duo in the back room, 2 units in the backfield there together. I don't agree with your assessment. I think you're overanalyzing a 25-year-old player's desire to dial it back and take games off and load management this thing. It's not going to happen. But will he have less and more and less, a different divide of production? Sure. Because Barkley's there, and Barkley's going to run the hell out of the ball. But they still ran the ball a ton. So it's not like it's going to be, here's 1,500 yards we got to go find somewhere. It's like, hey, we're running the ball probably 300 or 400 more times, or 300 or 400 more yards, and you can find that pretty easily. Especially if you're moving the chains, you're not punting as much, and the new kickoff rules. I don't even know if anybody's going to punt again.
Appreciate it, Smitty.
Just to add to that.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Travis.
No, I was just going to say, just to add to that, like last year, he ran 157 times. Even if they died, I think this is going to be different situations. They might run him a little less. Even if he only ran the ball 110 times, though, he's still going to get, 400 or 500 yards and double-digit touchdowns. So, how much are you really even going to lose? Even if they did pull him back 40 carries, he's still so good and so efficient at it that even if they did it, his value is still going to be there.
Also, think about it from this perspective too. Is like you're Kellen Moore, Sirianni. You're thinking about, okay, everyone's wanting to stop the brotherly shove. Here it goes. How many rollouts are you going to have where Hurts rolls out, throws the ball? You got Barkley in the backfield. You got Hurts in formation, ready to dive over the pile. They're 2 yards out, not inches. And they say, you know what? I'm gonna scramble to the right and run it in untouched, or I'm gonna throw the ball to Goddard in the corner of the end zone untouched, no one around. Like, you got to remember that there's a lot of trickery involved, and there's a lot of setup involved, and there's a lot of hard work that's been put in to make defenses already be scared to death of it, and they might go different routes constantly because they know everybody's scared to death of it. Like, you don't know how many touchdowns. He might lose 4 brotherly shove touchdowns and gain 5 passing touchdowns, or 2 random untouched rollout touchdowns and 2 or 3 passing touchdowns. Like, there's no way to measure this, and there's no way to be concerned. Like Travis just said, he's going to get freaking a massive amount of rushing. Like, he could still be the top running quarterback in the league, dialing it the hell back. So Hurts is going to be an absolute force. And if you want any sort of evidence at all, just look at Dak Prescott. Look at Kellen Moore. The remnants of Kellen Moore is in Dallas still. And it is that Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb offense that McCarthy and the boys took back over and re-implemented. If you remember what I said, I was really worried about Dallas going into the season. And I was right. Just because they balled the hell out doesn't mean I was wrong, because I'm going to explain why. I said, when McCarthy said I want to run the damn ball, and they wanted to change everything, I came in with my hands in the air going, why you want to fix what isn't broken? And why you want to dial CeeDee Lamb back and dial the offense back and turn into a run-heavy system when you don't really have that type of system and mentality? But he wanted to run the damn ball. They did, and if you remember correctly, Dallas didn't get in a groove right away. It took a while. When they failed to run the damn ball, they reverted back to Kellen Moore ways and started throwing the hell out of it, and Dallas took off. So it was exactly as I said, you know, and so Kellen Moore, this is going to be a nice offense, bro. It's going to be electric. And everything that you've seen in Dallas, Kellen Moore is going to do, and has probably even a smidge more talent in Philly than he did in Dallas. So it's going to be an absolute fun blast to watch. And the Eagles, the Niners, I mean, we talk about this all the time. No one's trying to take away from the Packers or the Lions, or the fact that the Falcons could be, you know, the crazy, you know, rising squad this year. But in a nutshell, the Eagles and the Niners, they sit atop this conference in the driver's seat, and it's all about the Lions and the Packers and the Falcons and the Cowboys and the Rams even trying to knock these two teams off of the totem poles. But these are the talent monsters in the league, the Niners and the Eagles. We'll see who stays healthy. We'll see who puts it all together. We'll see who outcoaches who, and we'll see if somebody can slip in and knock one of them or both of them out.
Appreciate it, Smitty. Have a great night.
All right, later, John. Shoddy says, let me know. Sensei, what are we talking about, Shoddy? Oh, let him know. Let him know. He was saying, let him know, Sensei. Let him know. Thank you. Thank you, Shoddy son. What else you got, Travis?
Just the more I've been hearing from like Patriots camp and practice and stuff, Jalen Pope supposedly looked really good, so keep an eye on him.
Yeah, there's.
I still think Baker could have like that monster ceiling. I think his floor is lower, but there's been some really good reports about Pope. So
yeah, I saw that today.
It'll be interesting. You know, we'll see what Brissett can do for him, and I mean Brissett's had flashes where he can get receivers the ball, but he's a rookie still. But
I think Javon Baker's the better talent, but Polk does look to be doing well. And he was drafted. He's got the capital, so like he's going to get a shot. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I feel like whatever is happening right now, it sucks that it's not under Drake May's command, because it could all change, you know.
Right.
And then you got to sometimes reset things, and so I don't know what to expect. I kind of think it's to be honest with you, I kind of think it's, I don't know. The more I look at it, the more I think Drake May should just start week 1. But let him learn on the fly. It wouldn't hurt to have him come in week 3, 4, or 5, I guess. But sometimes that does help. Sometimes it doesn't. I don't know.
I think unless he blows them away, they'll sit him for the first few weeks. But I don't think he's going to sit like 10 games or something.
Yeah,
like that.
The concern is that he goes out there
5 or 6. He's in.
The concern is he goes out there and craps the bed, and then it's like, where do you go from there? So they're worried about that. I know that they probably should have been. I don't know. I would have been more aggressive with wide receiver. I know they drafted wide receivers aggressively, but like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you go like? I'm not saying Keenan Allen is my favorite player to acquire, but like you had opportunities, and Keenan Allen was given away practically free.
Or Keenan Allen.
You could have
They
done
wouldn't spend
something.
a few more bucks to get Ridley.
Yeah,
Like,
Ridley.
they could have got Ridley if they paid up a little more. Like, and when you're in that position, you have to overpay. Like, you're not going to get a bargain. You're not even going to get market price. You got to overpay.
And you
then once you get back to winning ways, people come play for you. But
you also should go get Ayuk. You should go just say, you know what, we're willing to pay Ayuk whatever he wants. That should be what you do. You got Drake May. You're making an investment, and you can't shoot yourself in the foot by not having him surrounded with enough talent. And maybe Polk and Javon Baker are those guys. We'll have to see, but doesn't make much sense to me that you don't.
Yeah, and Demario Douglas is good. He's not a number one though. Like, I know people love him. I like him a lot, but he's not a number one. Like, so they still need that alpha guy. And Mac Jones, like I said, I liked him. I never thought he was going to be a superstar, but they didn't give him anything. They took away from him. And like any team that does that, it just drives me nuts. If you draft the guy in the first round, you got to surround him with talent.
Mad says Barkley was never number. What are you trying to say though? Are you trying to come in here and say are you down on Barkley? Are you a Giant fan upset that he left and you're just trying to be negative on Barkley? I'm just trying to get a feel for what you're even going for there. Mr. Frost says, Smitty, where are you drafting QBs in a 6-point per TD league? Thoughts on Burrow this year? I like Burrow a lot in a 6-point per TD league, but I still feel like at the end of the day, I want AR5. I want these quarterbacks that rank slightly ahead of him. Burrow ranks in around 6, 7, 8 for me for QBs, and that's not a bad place to be. If you miss out on all the quarterbacks, he's a fantastic quarterback to grab. But I'm still drafting Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, especially in 6-point per TD leagues, and I'm moving them all up slightly. I mean, they're all in round 3 guaranteed for me in a 6-point per TD league, and one of them, Josh Allen, will be in round 2. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a work league or a buddy league or a grandma league or a nursing home league, that you're going to see 2 of the quarterbacks go in round 2. But they're all deserving in round 3. AR5 is great in round 5, top of round 5. I'd even take him maybe even late. I'd take Stroud. Stroud feels like he's the most capable of having the Dak Prescott season, dancing inside the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks without the running production. That is what Dak did last year. He's dancing amongst all running quarterbacks, and he's sitting there with them all. That is CJ Stroud this year. So Stroud in the 5th round would be great, or 4th round in a 6-point per TD league. Stroud would be pretty fun to own. Stroud and Dell together in a 6-point per TD league. So that would be my advice there. Orion with the $5 holler. Hey, Smitty, is taking A.J. Brown, Saquon, and Jalen Hurts in a 1-point per TD 10-man redraft investing too much in the Eagles? I think there's some risk involved in that when the offense isn't going to be consistent, but you look at what Jalen Hurts did last year, and granted they have a 95% different offense according to Jalen Hurts himself, and you say to yourself, okay, well, what's that mean for this offense? Jalen Hurts was a top 6 quarterback 11 weeks out of 17 last year, so there's very few lows. So I don't mind this approach. I don't think it's crazy, but stacking doesn't help you at all. It worst case scenario, it ends up being fine, but it's not advantageous to have all 3. But it doesn't necessarily hurt you if the offense is constantly popping. But I can tell you right now, if you don't land your other picks, you will have some lows that knock you out, and you're going to be wishing you had maybe a little bit more diversified situation. But it doesn't mean that I would avoid it if it all fell that way. I think those are 3 amazing players. They're all going to have a great year. But, to imagine Barkley, A.J. Brown, and Hurts all having amazing games every week, it's not the easiest thing to imagine. I think there will be games where A.J. Brown plays okay and Barkley's the one that gets fed a ton. But they could also have huge games where they score, 6, 7 touchdowns. So, just don't stack on purpose in non-best ball. People are taking the best ball mentality and carrying it over to redraft, and it makes no sense at all. There's no advantage to stacking in non-best ball. It's not the look. Gibbs to the moon, absolutely, bro.
To the moon.
To the moon. All right, Travis, anything else?
I think that's it. No, that's about it.
All right, I'll be back
Appreciate it, Smitty.
yeah, I'm probably not leaving yet, but I'll be back tonight, most likely. If not, just to do a Dynasty show, but I'll probably be back for a draft show, and then hopefully I can do a Dynasty show on top of that, but we'll see. Thanks, Travis. Appreciate you.
All right, later.
Mod
Thanks.
Squad
Bye.
to the moon. Thanks, Travis. Phone line's open if you guys want to dial in and have any more, conversation real quick before your boy heads out in a little bit. I might go get a slice of pizza over at the local Pizza by the Slice place that I go to, kind of craving a little slice. So I'm here for a little while if you guys want to ask a question. We've got 150 of you YouTubers in here. We're getting busier. We're starting to get toward crunch time. So make sure you're here on the daily, Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. We're here, and it's going to get busier and busier, and we're going to make this season our best season ever. We're going to have 500 people in here on the live streams on the regular. Let's make it a point. Tell your friend, tell a friend at work, tell your coworker, tell somebody that's not in your league, tell somebody that just loves good football conversation. Tell anybody. I mean, Bill the Tickler, what's up? You're live.
Hey, buddy.
What can I do for you, Bill?
How are you?
I'm good.
I'm all right. I just appreciate that. As we dip and dive a few months ago to now, I just appreciate all your insight. And I just got the news. So I've been in a 10-man league the past few years, and now it's going to a 12-man league. So I noticed I mock draft is thinning out. So I need your divs and dives more than ever, and I appreciate all your insights. So,
all right, Bill. Well, in that case, I would say that you go with best player available.
Mostly.
Yeah, there you go. That'll help you.
But but you know me. I got a little reach in me, and you mix a little reach with a little snipe.
You reach around or two.
Best player,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to. I've won a 10-man league a couple times. I've never won a 12-man league. So let's hold on tight. Let's strap them seatbelts in, Smitty.
All right. Well, make sure you watch the beginning of this show back a couple times so you have a good sense of the best picks in every round, because I think that will help you guide.
I was here at the start of the show. I was the first to wipe the feet. I'm never the first. Tonight was the only time in 3 years I've been the first to wipe my feet. And the first in the building. But I've been following you all the way, as I always do.
Attaboy.
And I'm so sorry I missed you. I'm so schmarry. I'm schmarry that I missed you.
Have another one, Bill. Have another one, Bill. Yeah, definitely. Next year we'll see if I even go. I don't even know if I'm going to go again. All right, hang tight, Bill. Let me put you on hold real quickly. I'll come back to you. Think of a question if you got one. Arrogance, what is going on? Rock Out, thank you. I'm back after being MIA. Thank you, Rock Out, for the super chat. What's up, Arrogance? What can I do for you?
Hey, what's good, Smitty? Hey, man. I just want to level with you on something. I'm having problems drafting wide receivers almost ever. Like, I feel like the first 4 rounds, I feel like I'm just looking at the running backs, looking at best players, and I'm thinking I don't really like any receivers other than, what we've been talking about, DK, Drake London, but they never typically fall to me,
Well, I mean, look at my best picks in every round. I mean, do you see a lot of wide receivers here? It's not that I hate them either. It's just they're being forced upon everybody in this best ball wide receiver mentality. And unfortunately, we have wide receivers that belong in round 3, living in round 2. We got wide receivers dragging themselves into the bottom of round 1 that deserve to be in round 2. And at the end of the day, what ends up happening is when you're on the clock and you want to draft a wide receiver, you're looking at wide receivers that are reaches. They shouldn't be where they are. And so it just makes you say to yourself, like, do I continue to copy everybody, follow the sheep? Or do I make a bold statement and say the value at RB here doesn't belong here? I shouldn't see Kyron Williams in round 3, and I'm going to take him. And I'm going to find myself a value at wide receiver later, one that belongs where it belongs. And the one thing I'll tell you, though, bro, is that everything self-corrects. Like I said, everything's a cycle. Even within a draft, everything's a cycle. Everything is a cycle in life. And when you're sitting here seeing wide receivers get shoved into rounds 1, 2, and 3, guess what eventually happens? those people need to go draft running backs, quarterbacks, and tight ends. So it will reverse. The trend will reverse. And at some point, when all the people are trying to consume running backs and quarterbacks and tight ends, there will be less wide receivers being taken in certain stretches. And you're actually going to find it revert back to where it probably should be. And as long as you land your wide receiver like Tank Dell in round 4 that belongs in round 4, a DK Metcalf in 3-4 that belongs in 3-4, a Keon Coleman who belongs in 7, who you're drafting in 7, you're going to be okay if you land your picks. If you don't land your picks, you won't be okay. But that goes for anybody drafting wide receivers in round 1 and 2 as well. You draft Waddle in round 2, you're not smashing. You're not. Like, unless Tyreek Hill gets hurt, which you're banking on an injury, Waddle doesn't belong in round 2. I'm not saying Waddle's a bad player, but this is the same song and dance we had last year when Waddle went 13, 14 overall and didn't belong there. Even in hindsight, proven right. Or Deontay Johnson going in the 3rd round. Deontay was going in the 3rd and 4th round. And people just wildly decided that this was a good idea back when he was doing that. Best
Am
player.
I tripping, Smitty, or you got 2 pictures of Gibbs on your screen?
Best player available, bro. I have 2 pictures of Gibbs. What?
You got 2 pictures of Gibbs on the screen?
I got more than
tripping?
that. I got more than that.
They hiding everywhere?
Because I don't find them and I drag them back on, and then later I move players, and then there he is. I got 5 copies of some players hidden in the crowd.
But yeah, in this fantasy football show squad, best ball draft we're in, somebody took Jamar Chase first overall, and I was like, okay, kind of cool, right? But then I'm up here at the 9, I look at Jahmyr Gibbs and Kyrie, and I'm debating over them because A.J. Brown's not bad, but it's like, I don't know, dude. Like, I just don't feel any of the wide receivers.
Well, that's because they're out of place. You don't want to follow the trend of taking guys. You're borrowing from the previous round, bro. The industry is borrowing wide receivers for round 3 from round 4. That's why it doesn't feel right to you. I'm not saying everyone. That's why you could take some, And DK Metcalf becomes an emergency 2-3 turn player for me because I'm so sick and tired of being put in a position where if I want to go a wide receiver, I'm looking at Nico. I don't want to draft Nico or Neighbors at the 2-3 turn. Give me a guy that's a bona fide breakout for me. Let me decide. That's the whole mentality here is people draft what they're supposed to draft more than they draft what they want to draft. And that is not to say you should go reaching to get your guys on every turn, but that's to say that if I believe DK Metcalf is disguised as a wide receiver 2, but really should be in the conversation of being inside the round 2 territory, then I love that in terms of my emergency 2-3 turn player. I love it. I've taken Josh Allen at 2.12 and DK at 3.1. I can't tell you how many times because I'm not going to play the game of drafting Nico Collins or Neighbors because they're wide receivers. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, at some point, I'm in round 4 or 5. I'm like, man, I got to take a wide receiver, and it makes me feel like I'm not taking best player available at that point, and I just kind of fight myself. So
yeah, always take best player available, bro. Always. Sometimes it leaves you with an uncomfortable void. I used to do draft calls. I don't do draft calls anymore. I used to do a text line. I don't do a text line anymore. I just don't have time for that constant, on call thing. I don't do it anymore. But I had draft calls, and one guy I helped him draft. I told the story before. I helped him draft the best team that you could have possibly assembled. But I said to him before, he's one of those guys, he's like all hopped up at the beginning. He's like, hey, Smitty, I can't wait to draft with you, bro. You draft whatever you want, bro. You draft what I'm like, I don't want to draft what I wanted. I want you to draft the team you want to draft. I'm here to help you, but I'm not here to draft your team. I'm here to let's dominate together. And he's like, okay, well, you got it, bro. Whatever you think. And so we're drafted, and I'm like, what do you want to accomplish here? Is there any players you want? Is there a certain approach you want to do no matter what? Just let me know. And he's like, bro, what do you think is best? Whatever you think is best. I go, let's go best player available. Okay, because that's my approach, no matter where it takes us. And that doesn't mean drafting the backup quarterback before you draft other starters. It means the best player available, considering your build, considering who's left, et cetera, et cetera. That's what best player available means. And so we get to a point where we build like one running back, and we're loaded all over the place, but we have a nice little rotation of RB2s. This guy was having a heart attack by the end of the draft. He was a nervous Nelly. He was like, I can't believe we don't have a running back too. I can't believe. He was freaking out. I'm like, bro, this is what best player available is. You are stacked everywhere, and you have a void at your running back too. Your only objective all year is to smash and find a way to either free agency, piecemeal this thing together, or the sleepers we drafted step up and smash. But he still had a good rotation. He freaked out. And I'm like, don't trade this team away. You have a winning team. What did he do 2 weeks ago or 2 weeks later? He sends me an email. He made like 7 trades and reversed everything that we did. He had the worst team I'd ever seen. And I'm like, bro, don't put me in this boat. He's like, I don't know. I better win, Smitty. I'm like, you ain't going to win. And that's your fault. It's your fault, bro. He freaked out. It's not for everybody. My whole point is best player available can scare the hell out of some people because they don't like to have a hole anywhere. And just like the guy that said, oh, ew, your wide receivers, ew, you see Smitty's receivers, those are gross. Like, you are going to, if you can't see objectively that you are dominating everybody at quarterback, running back, or at quarterback, wide receiver, tight end, and running back 1, but you have a vacancy and hole and void in your running back 2, if you can't see the advantage of that, and all you do is hyper focus on your running back 2, and don't realize to improve that, you're lowering the standards at those other pieces that we just built up. There's no way to be a 10 out of 10 across the board coming out of the draft. You know, you gotta play some gambles and try and land some breakouts. And this guy just didn't understand that, especially the guy saying ooh to the receivers. Didn't understand that, like, you have this team you should not have at other positions. You're going to feel uncomfortable somewhere. Would you rather feel uncomfortable slightly everywhere? This is like the bye week conversation. Or would you rather feel like you are king at QB? You are king at running back 1. You are king at wide receiver 1. You are king, Dalton Kincaid king, or McBride at tight end. But you are a little poor. You're Trey Benson and Zamir White, or Jonathan Brooks, Trey Benson, and Zach Moss. Poor at running back, but you're gonna figure it out. You also believe in what you're doing. That is how you approach it. If you can't handle that, then yeah, go be bland all over. Have no holes, but have no studs. Do what you want. This is not a channel for low risk. We are high risk people, but we're also very logical. All right, anything else there, Arrogance, before I let you jump, pal?
Yeah, mom and pop league, it's a little irrational at times. You get that right, but like I had a guy draft quarterback like 3rd overall. He took Josh Allen, and then we all panicked and all took quarterbacks, and I feel like it throws everything off. So
you don't need to do that.
It's a scary thing to go for, but I definitely have been digging it the more you've been preaching it. So
attaboy. All right, Arrogance, appreciate you. See you on the Patreon, pal. Later.
Thanks.
Bill the Tickler, any final thoughts or any final question, pal?
Many final thoughts, final questions. Find myself in so many players. I'm gonna write them down. We'll get back together again.
All right.
But
Bill, we'll see you later.
Yes, Smitty.
We'll see you later.
I see you pumping that football.
Yeah, call him.
Am I 5 seconds or 12 minutes behind? I see you pumping that football. Salute. I salute you as well, Smitty.
All right. Thanks, Bill. All right, later.
Hey, Smitty, thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Bill the Tickler. Bill the Tickler. All right. Hey, we'll be back tonight, most likely to do a little draft sesh, Underdog Fantasy. And then we'll probably be back to do a Dynasty show, I think, as well. So hit this link right here. The link is Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty, if you want to be prepared for a draft. You want to mock draft with us, but with real money and actually do leagues where you can win money. That's what we really do over here nowadays. We don't necessarily do the old mocky poo anymore because it's like, what's the point? You know what? If I could play for money, I know not everybody can do it, but only 11 other people can get into a mock draft anyway. So it's like there's thousands of people watching the stream over. So do I cater to 11 people that get into the draft and then have a boring mock draft that we watch, or do we play for money? Okay. And on top of that, I can't stand the culture of just mock draft on screen, mock draft on screen. I'm sorry, best ball draft on screen, best ball draft on screen, best ball draft on screen. We do things different. When we draft, we have conversations. We have open phone lines. We have topics at hand. We switch back and forth from that screen. I don't want to just be sitting there on a mock draft or a best ball draft screen every single night at midnight and just rinsing and repeating that. We do it differently here. There's reasons to go live in the Graveyard Stream Midnight Edition, not just a draft, but to talk about something and then maybe apply it in the draft, to have phone calls, to have good conversation. That's what our grave streams are about, not just drafting. Not on this channel, not on my watch. I'll see you all tonight for that type of environment. Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, which is what this show is right now. Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. Live when big news breaks additionally. So anything breaks tonight, you get signed or traded or some sort of news like that, you know I go live. Rockout says he's got a super chat waiting for me. Or a voicemail waiting for me. Let's see what Rockout's. I think he dropped some sort of fire.
I'ma be Zen in the first, A-Chan in the second, Kyren in the third, and give me more homes to the moon. That's just how we get it.
Thank you. Rock out to the mother freaking moon. Rock out. I'm taking away other people's Bijan cards, but not rock out.
Your Bijan card has been revoked.
Thank you to Bryson. Thank you to Rockout. Thank you to OT. Thank you to Shorty. Thank you to Orion. Or Shoddy, I'm sorry. Shoddy, Orion, rock out. Thank you for the super chats. You guys absolutely rock. Just like rock out.
Legend has it if you say Saint Brown 3 times in the dark in the bathroom, you will immediately lose your league.
The double-decker, pronounced double-decker in academic circles, is drafting wide receiver back-to-back in rounds 1 and 2, using these plethoras of players. The double-decker.
Don't forget about the 4 horsemen, which kind of is fluctuating and changing a little bit. We got A-Chan and Kyren in round 2. We have top 3 quarterback or Kyren Williams in round number 3. We've got Cooper Kupp, Travis Kelce. Cooper Kupp doesn't always fall to 4 anymore. Trey McBride, Devontae Smith, Josh Jacobs. Really any other quarterback if you don't get a quarterback here. Tank Dell also needs to be. We need to add Tank Dell to this 4th round. This is the 4 horsemen if you want to deploy the 4 horsemen. And then also, if anybody didn't know about the tripod.
The tripod, likened to pyramids in ancient Egypt, consists of drafting one of Allen, Mahomes, or Hurts to go with one of these round 1 running backs and one of these running backs in round 2. The tripod.
Deuces.